All right.
Okay.
This is a dark subject, and we're going to do it with a smile.
All a man can do is smile back.
Yep. In my previous video, I discussed that something was happening in the country, and but I get a sense for it. I'm just going to say I do. I'm just going to go right on into it and say I get a sense for that stuff, and I can get a sense that something was happening in the country where things had changed a little bit.
Things have changed.
And then as I turned on the news and saw some things.
This week, Mrs. W and I are going to kind of finalize our preparations for what I fear is going to be another COVID lockdown.
I had heard about various states doing lockdowns.
Lockdowns are back.
Hardcore lockdowns, maybe the worst lockdowns we've had so far.
To eat outside if it's possible, bringing your own food and drink to any holiday parties you may be attending, and no loud talking or singing.
And we'll see over time whether these are constitutional or not. I don't know. I mean, how can you tell people that they can't have gatherings of more than 10 in their own home?
Just when many thought this city that never sleeps was waking up again, New York and the rest of the state was hit with new restrictions. The new regulations also limit private gatherings to 10 people.
You can't. But people are going along with it because of fear. Fear is a problem we're battling right now.
Terrible thing to live in fear.
Fear is why a lot of women voted for Joe Biden.
Listen, let me give you an illustration about the critical difference between fear and faith.
Okay.
Okay. Just draw a straight line. At one end you put fear, and at the other end you put faith. Mm-hmm. What connects them is belief. Mm-hmm. In the Old Testament, you have the situation with Job where each day he offered sacrifice on behalf of his children in case they may have sinned. Well, it comes to pass that they're all killed, and he loses everything that he has. And then in his story it is said, that which I feared has come to pass. So on his believing, he believed in his fear, and he worked real hard to develop that fear. And I think that's what we're doing in America right now. We're believing in that fear very strongly.
Yep.
Well, and it takes folk like us and times like these to discuss this problem and see if we can make it different.
Women and children can be careless, but not men.
Clearly, the Bible says God has not given us a spirit of fear.
Just sit back.
Yeah, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So, if we're fearing a thing, it's one thing to be cautious, but when you fear, you're pumping belief into it. You're not drawing that from God.
Yeah, that's good, and you could screw some things up.
What? Like what? What are you talking about?
Well, you can vote out of fear.
Fear-based decision making, because I think for many of us, our decisions can be based in fear, and I think this is pretty unhelpful.
And you can pick politicians out of fear, and you can instill fear into your kids. I spoke with one person. They just let their child out of the house for the first time since March. Now you're going to screw a kid up if you do that.
Yes.
That's going to be with them for the rest of their life. They're going to have a fear of everything, and I don't want to put that on them, but...
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby!
And you have better deal with that quickly and bind that up.
Amen. That's right. That's right.
So what the deal was, I was noticing this change in the country, and again, with these lockdowns. And I thought, why in the world are they locking things down now? There's no evidence that shows that this does miraculous good or bad. I just saw in Illinois where they have some of the most stringent lockdowns in the entire country are in Illinois, and have been the entire time. And their cases are through the roof, supposedly. And I noticed something else they did today. They said, what did they say? COVID cases confirmed or suspected.
Been a lot of confusion this week after a change in how positive cases are being reported here in Illinois.
Now, what the hell does that mean?
And we want to point one thing out. The way they calculate this number of new cases has changed a little bit. Not meaningfully, but a little bit. We want to get under the hood of it.
What does that mean? Confirmed or suspected. They said 9,000 cases confirmed or suspected. Well, 8,000 of them could be suspected.
Let's pause on that for a second. That is 3 times the number of cases the state had this time last month.
And people are just buying right on into it, buying into it the entire time. And I'm thinking, why are they doing this? What's the... They had really believed in you remember that mayor from Chicago, that dude that looks, that real ugly mayor from Chicago? I can't think of his name. Got the big eyes. Lightfoot.
Okay.
She was out celebrating the next day after Biden, they had declared Biden the victor. Or that the next couple of days, whenever the media decided, well, we're just going to...
Remember, just because CNN says, or even Fox News says that somebody's president doesn't make them president. So I think everybody wants to know that this was done properly and legally.
What is happening? Like, Trace, we've called it.
Biden's president now. We're just going to decide it. We decided it for everybody.
One of the reasons people feel frustrated or skeptical is they're getting a lot of mixed messages. What do you say to those who are criticizing you, where less than a week ago you went out and stood before a massive crowd who was celebrating Joe Biden's victory, and now you're saying your city has to shut down? How do you have one and not the other?
And she's out celebrating it, and there's thousands of people out in the streets or whatever, no mask on or anything like that. I'm thinking, she has been complaining this whole time about it. And then as soon as I think they figured out they don't have anything sealed up as far as the Congress and how bad the results really were for the Democrats.
There was no blue wave that they predicted. They thought there was going to be a big blue wave. That was false. That was done for suppression reasons. But instead there was a big red wave.
They were going back into this lockdown mode now. And then I had this thought. They need those 2 Senate seats in Georgia to do anything. They had to have them both. And in order to get them, they're not going to win. If they do an election, they will not win them. The Republicans will come out in mass in Georgia. It won't even be close. It'll be a landslide. So the only way they can do it, if they implement this same system of mail-in ballots and everything like that. And then I thought, now I see why they're doing this. And in order to do it in Georgia, which will be one of the last places to lock down, Florida and Georgia are going to be one of the last places you can implement a lockdown in. It's just the way it is. Florida, for sure. You're not going to do it in Florida. DeSantis is too strong, and we can talk about him in a later video. We've got a good governor down there in Florida.
Okay.
He's on the ball. If he's not up for president soon, he will be. Well, anyway, so in Georgia, they would have to shame them into it somehow. I don't know how you would get them to lock down, because the election, I believe, is on January 4th or 5th. 4th or 5th. So it's before if they did bring Biden in, it's before then. So how would you do it? And I don't know, and this is another thing. This was implemented. The idea for this was brewed or put together, schemed up, whatever word I'm looking for, a long time ago. To do this, and I think they're kind of falling back on this playbook, but it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. I'll tell you right now, both of those Senate seats are going to go to Republican. But they're going to try like crazy to lock down. And what they're doing in the country, go ahead. You going to say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay. What's happening, y'all, is we are putting and allowing martial law to come on us. What do you think martial law is? It's you can't leave your home. When you do leave your home, you have to wear a certain thing. When you do leave the home and wear a certain thing, you can't stand next to anybody. You have to be in small parties. Your Constitution is thrown out. It's martial law.
Now at 5, arrested again. A plantation gym owner back in custody for the 3rd time just hours after being released from jail.
I don't know. This is martial law. And we're just, people think that martial law just gets implemented by, they just put it on billboards. Martial law is now happening. No, it doesn't happen like that. It happens like this.
When I hold it over this pot of boiling water, this frog is very uncomfortable and climbs to get away from it. 69.4 degrees, so he's comfortable when I put him in. If I turn the burner on low flame, his body temperature will adjust and slowly he will heat up with the water. He doesn't recognize the danger he's in. By the time he realizes it's killing him, it's too late.
Okay, and one of the reasons why this election down there is going to go Republican is because there'll be a number of voices just like yours and just like this one saying, hey, the jig is up.
Yes.
You know.
The jig is up. Last time I said the gig is up. The gig is up. We recognize this, and it's not going to work. So I went and looked it up. Well, both are correct, but it's definitely supposed to be jig is up. And I did something else the last video that Dad pointed out. I said a light bulb went off. A light bulb went off. Well, light bulbs don't go off when you have an idea.
Yeah, right. They go on.
The ding, and then it comes on.
And listen, this shows that we're flexible. If we've made a mistake somewhere, we will own up to it. You know, we don't pride ourselves in being totally without error. I mean, we make a mistake or two every now and then. What? I know, but last year I made a mistake.
Right?